Hello everyone and welcome to the weekend video. Life is rough and things happen, so I wasn't really that available last week and weekend, but I'm back, I'm still kicking and I'm still doing content. And I try to keep it that way for the next few millennia. As you can see, I have opened the wings, and that is because I made a new set of wings after I decided this one is fine. But I want something I can work on. Want something I can work on with weight mapping and other stuff. And I decided, nope, I will just not fix what I have, because this takes a lot of time, and instead will do another one. One of the issues is that you can see right now, each piece has a ton of faces, of points, and of edges. You can see this on the side where the details are. This thing has, I think, over 1 million different points and stuff, and it is way too big. So I decided I'm going to make a new one, and you will see it in a second. Here we go. This is the new and improved model. I actually rigged the whole thing, and the rigging took basically this morning as well as this afternoon, and probably a few more days until I worked out all the kinks. I will talk about the making a bit, and then I will go into the rigging, which I have not recorded for time reasons. And you will also see a few iterations of the wings. When I first made them, you can see I worked with a tube. I expanded the tube a bit. This is the frame of the wing, basically the where the muscle is, the actual flesh and bone of the wing, so to speak. And then I made a very simple shape for the first feathers. The thing is very basic. I tried to dump it down from the feathers I already had, and these feathers are really much smaller. The original feathers in the original one are actually two different pieces. If you go back, you can actually see that there is the stem of the feather and the feather itself, and they are gigantic in points. I have no idea why they have so many points, but they have. I managed to break this down to, I think, a sixth of the size. In sheer numbers of vertices and stuff. This is a sixth of the same size of the other wings, and they actually look better. I think they look just less detailed, a bit more stylized, but I like them more, and that's the point. You can see I'm fiddling around with the feathers. Is like each feather is one piece. There's also a lot less feathers, just like I think 5 on the upper wing and 7 on the outer wing, basically on the end of the wing. So there's a lot less feathers. The original had, I don't know, a few dozen, I think, like 30-40 wings, 30-40 feathers or so per wing. I think even more, and this one has way less. I made 2 iterations of feathers, the long feathers that you see right there, and I made the cover feathers that basically cover the feather and the bone connection, because it's just stuck in there. You can see I'm leaving a bit of space between the two, between the upwards angle and the lower part, so I have an easier way of actually splitting these apart. I will cover this with a single feather that is on both bones, and yeah, there is just a few less feathers in the original, but a few more feathers involved in the whole thing. I actually made 2 rows of the cover feathers, one on the outside, one on the inside, so to say, on the front and on the back, so the whole thing is covered from both sides, because you usually see them from either or from both sides when they flap. let's get into the rigging, because I don't have that much time left. The original one I will show you in motion right now. You can see the whole thing is very stiff. That is because the whole thing has only 2 bones, or had only 2 bones at this point. This was the first iteration yesterday evening. It has a upper wing, like an upper arm, and a lower wing, like the lower arm. Basically, the first part is the first part coming out of the body is the upper wing, and then the lower wing is the tip, or towards the end of the wing. Each is very stiff, or was very stiffly weight mapped. Actually, I can weight map these pretty good, and the other one was very laggy, or the other wings were completely laggy when I tried to weight map them, because there is so much detail that is getting weight mapped. It just takes a ton of work, and in this case I had a lot less vertices, a lot less elements that needed to be touched, so the weight mapping is way better to do. It is still not easy. I'm still working on the weight mapping. There is a lot of clipping, not clipping, there's a lot of artifacts still going on when I move the wings too much. The whole thing is really kind of broken, but it is still something. It is something that I can work on. It's something that teaches me a lot. I'm thinking about redoing the wings and giving them a third piece, like upper wing, lower wing, and then tip, so that I have a intermediate area that I can use to break down on the movement, so that the wings move smoother and not that strongly when they bend into each other. But that is something that I actually have to look if I want to do that and how it would end. So I will most likely make a second version of this. But yeah, first iteration was very, very stiff. I wasn't really that happy with it, so I actually took the time and added 2 more bones, one under the upper wing, one under the lower wing, and then I weight mapped this, and this is how this looks, or how this looked at that point. The first thing you see is there's still artifacts happening, so I had to reiterate, I had to go down into detail and actually work on the weight mapping. So I took the time today, I bent the wing into a position I wanted, where I saw a lot of artifacts, and then I went down and actually worked by hand the weight mapping. The holding control gives you a tool, or changes the tool into a smoothing function for the weight mapping, which helps a lot with these. So I basically forced the whole weight mapping to be, or not forced, I made the weight mapping much smoother, much better working. Then I threw on the script that I use for hair and for other things, that gives me some natural motion basically for stuff like that. And I decided I'm going to throw that on and see a bit of counter movement that basically shows the wings have some kind of air resistance, at least when they're moved. And this is the version that I had when I finished the whole thing, that I'm currently using. You can see the whole thing is much better. Yeah, there's almost no more artifacts. The whole thing moves a lot better. And yeah, I was happy with how this looked, and I went ahead and I made the render. And then I had the issue that as soon as I tried to model the wing, there was a lot of artifacts suddenly, because I smoothed this down to a certain point, but I didn't work on the extremes of it, like when I push the wing to an extreme position very close to the body, how does this look? And this in the end made it look very weird. So I actually, when I did the render, went back into the weight mapping tool and went ahead and just weight mapped way more, worked on the details, tried to remove artifacts, and I'm nowhere near done with this. These wings will not, or will probably not pop up another video, but it is something that I will have to throw more time on until I'm actually satisfied, because I want to use these for the angel. Probably not for the videos I already made, but for a few coming in the future, I want to use these wings instead. But yeah, in the end, this means I have to do a lot more work on this, which is fine. I'm looking forward to this because it also teaches me a lot about actually how weight mapping works and how to change different pieces around and all. But yeah, looking forward to the whole thing. There is still the issue with I might actually have to add another bone in the middle of the wing as a kind of buffer zone, as a buffer zone between the outer and the inner wing, so I can bend these easier. I have to see how this works. I will actually have to see how I will look at how the weight mapping on actual Genesis 2 is as well, so I have a reference. Yeah, it is a whole process, and I'm looking forward to the rest. For now, this is all I wanted to say. I will do with other stuff in the future. We'll see how this whole thing turns out. That's it for this video. Enjoy the render, and as always, stay healthy, stay safe, and I will see you guys around.